Hello and welcome to another Abyss review. It's just a few days after the Abyss was reset, and since we've entered 4.5, it's time for the Abyss to change. So, as always, we will not be taking a look at 9 and 10. Those floors don't change unless we enter a new nation. So if you want to take a look at those, any tips that you might need for floors 9 and 10 as a new player or whatever, like somebody new to the Abyss, you can check out the 4.0 video for that. For everybody else, we can immediately begin with floors 11 and 12. This Abyss is okay, but there are some specific chambers that need noting, that need you to be careful, and there's a few tips here to help you out with the Abyss. So let's immediately begin. So 11.1 starts without a monument defense. Although it's pretty easy even with this change. I mean, it's not gonna be like the previous monument change. That thing was holy fuck, was 4.4, just the easiest Abyss ever, I think, on floor 11. But yeah, no monument defense, and it makes things like a bit easier for some, honestly, but the first half is waves of hilichurls. There's always one geo summachurl, always summoning the freaking, like, platforms for some other, like, archer hilichurls, and there's usually two mitachurls with geo shields. You're gonna need maybe like a claymore character to break down the shields that can make things a little bit easier, or Geo, of course, to eat up the shields, let's say with Zhongli or somebody. But just make sure you have something to maybe take down the Samachurl, in order to break down the platforms if you can't reach them for some reason or another. Sama Nemo CC, let's say, can help a lot. But pretty easy. You can also, of course, use Geo or Claymores to break the shields and the platforms and then kill the Samachurl. But again, it's floor 11. These guys have no health, and there's plenty of time. The second half is a bunch of shrooms. That's about it. It's a bunch of shrooms. Kill them. There's nothing really special about them. It's pretty fine. 11.2 contains the new beasts, the Xuan Wang, something like that beast that you find in Chenyu Vale in the first half, alongside a second wave of Fontaine mechas. I think you're meant to freeze or use swirl, at least with the boss, that's how it works, and I think on the overworld that's how it works, to lower their resistances, but I didn't really notice this mechanic on me or anybody that I watched that did the Abyss. I mean, it's also floor 11, as said, then they don't have that much health, so you might not even be able to notice that they have low resistances, right? They're also lower level, so you don't really need this mechanic of freezing and swirling, or like shattering them to lower the resistances. Just fucking kill them. And the mechas are pretty easy. It's just a shooter mecha, and I think there's a Camille and there. That's perfectly. They're not that tough. The second half of 11.2 is two waves each containing a consecrated beast. One is the tiger, the second one is the vulture. It would be nice to take some care because they deal a lot of damage even in floor 11, but their health is lower than being in floor 12, and they do appear one at a time compared to being in floor 12 where they're usually in pairs. So things are a lot easier to dodge. Again, floor 11, 11.2, so there's plenty of time to take them down. Just be careful, they can deal a lot of damage, but again, one at a time is so much easier and so much nicer. So while they are, well, you should be careful, it's okay, we're good. 11.3 though, you are gonna need to be extra careful, because on the first half, it contains the two Hydro Phantasm local legends, the first two that appeared in Fontaine. They have appeared here before, but the major difference is that now they are next to each other. Previously, they spawned on opposite sides of the arena, and usually one would straight up not reach you with its attacks, but now it can. They non-stop spam attacks, and they hurt. Also, if you bring someone like Bennett, they will constantly vaporize their attacks, dealing more damage to you. Be careful of these guys. They're not impossible to defeat, of course, and there isn't really a specific strategy to defeating them. Many times you won't be able to freeze them. I think you just cannot freeze them because they're local legends, but I think I've seen it happen. But usually they will turn into some sort of special form like the normal Hydro Phantasms do, and they'll straight up not be able to be freezed. But yeah, like, be careful. There isn't a specific strategy, I said, to defeating them. Again, be careful, because if you're not, I easily foresee losing characters or restarting the chamber because they one-shot a character or two-shotted them. Again, they non-stop spam attacks. I can easily see people just not being able to freaking see what's happening because of how many effects are going out with these guys' attacks. And especially if one of them does the water spouting attack, like a water laser, oh my goodness, that's constant damage, constant staggering, and it can be very, very annoying. So be very careful. Of course, don't bring Hydro as your main DPS because they cannot take Hydro damage. Also be careful because they might be able to also ruin some of your reactions, like if you bring an Aggravate or Spread team, because they're constantly affected by Hydro, they might ruin your spreads and aggravates. It's a free Quick Bloom team basically, but again, you might not be able to aggravate or spread your specific attacks that you would like to aggravate or spread because they're constantly, again, affected by Hydro. Yeah, it's fine. Thankfully, the second half is super easy. It's just 3 megas. 2 of the Wrecking Ball ones, and then the little buffer thing, I believe. So, if some time is needed on the local legends, you can rest assured that 11.3 is super freaking easy. Although do remember, floor 11.3 does have the same time constraints as floor 12, but again, the local legends have lower health because they're on floor 11. Yeah, overall, floor 11, this version, it's definitely not as easy as the previous one. I think nothing can beat 4.4 and how easy it was. But it's not crazy hard either. The main point of concern is 11.3's first half with the local legends, and then the consecrated beasts, just a bit. Other than that, this is a pretty normal floor 11. Onward to floor 12, and we begin with 12.1's first half, which contains something pretty interesting. So this first half starts with a Pyro Mage with the Pyro Aura and the Alien Primus's Dendro version. The Burning Boner is still hard from last version. So be careful with burning as it can chunk your health down pretty fast, but after these enemies come 2 Fatui Operatives, Anemo and Cryo, so both of the versions that are available. They have boss health bars like the local legend that exists, but nothing really separates them from normal Fatui Operatives. They have resistances to their respective elements, and they love to move around. Holy shit, between their parries teleporting them to you and their attacks dashing around, these bitches never stop moving. Anemo CC does work on them, so use that to your advantage, but they aren't that scary. Yeah, they got the Bond of Life mechanic, but it's pretty easy to dodge and also to just get rid of. And yeah, they hurt like normal floor 12 enemies, honestly. They aren't that extremely special. It's just that they have their specific attacks. Again, they move around like motherfuckers. And yeah, they can be annoying with their parries. Other than that, don't be afraid of the... I think they just wanted to have some fun because every time you enter the chamber, their names change. Yeah, their names change. Like, they're constantly different names, like randomized names. That's cool, I guess, but that doesn't make them any scary or something. And the second half is the Terror's Room. The Jade Plume Terror's Room. It has appeared many times, and it's pretty easy. Nothing much. Like, again, I mean, it has Dendro resistances, okay? It can be a bit annoying if you bring Electro because it can run around, and that attack can take some time, but it's pretty easy. Nothing really special about it. 12.2 now has a weird wave structure on the first half. It starts with a variety of specters in front of you, which should be super easy to take care of unless you run like a mono element team that can't damage them. There's like Pyro, Electro, and Dendro, so if you bring any sort of like super mono team, then you'll have a problem, but just two elements will be fine. Like bring Electro and Dendro. One, half of the team is gonna damage the Electro ones, half of the team is gonna damage the Dendro ones, you get the idea, blah blah blah. They're pretty easy specters, right? After them, 3 Pyro Whopper Flowers will spawn behind you. Why are they here? I have no idea. They are so filler, it's very dumb to put them here, because the main show comes in the third wave, which spawns in the opposite side of the arena where the Whopper Flowers spawn, which is an army of shadowy husks of almost all variants. Yikes. And to top it all off, they have a fuck ton of auras. The big axe guy has the Geo aura. I think there's a Pyro aura. I don't think there's a Hydro aura, but I'm pretty sure there's a Pyro and the fucking Geo one, which fucking sucks. Fuck that. These guys can be annoying. I am mostly angry with the auras, and because the big fat axe dude gets countered by shield, like if it does the spinning axe attack, if it hits a shield, or I think it breaks a shield, he gets stunned. But if the others hit you while you have a shield, they get buffs. Why? You made a whole category of enemies that are meant to do something, to get some sort of buff when they hit you with a shield, but then you made one enemy that gets countered by shields. That's so fucking dumb. And the big axe guy can be very, very annoying with his shield and spinning axe attack, but get behind him and that problem disappears for the most part. But yeah, the auras as well are super duper annoying, and the G-aura being on the axe guy, which is the tankiest, means that the G-aura is gonna be always up basically until you finish the chamber, and it's gonna be like, oh my goodness, I fucking hate the G-aura. It's so... all of these auras are fucking horrendously designed, but the G-aura is especially fucking annoying. Use an MOCC and a bit of AoE, it will obliterate them. But I can see people having problems against them. But most teams should suffice in taking them down. Even something like a full Geo team should do perfectly fine. Like even, the full Geo team usually has Zhongli, right? But like, again, they can be super annoying. I can easily see somebody doing a reset or two because maybe a character died because of the stupid G-aura. Or the burning aura, I think that exists. And it's, yeah. But again, an MOCC stuns them completely. And then AoE, because they're all bunched up together, should just delete them. But again, very annoying. Just that, it's annoying. It's not hard, it's annoying. And once again, the second half contains a boss, and it's the Perpetual Mechanical Array. It has appeared before, just like the Terror Shroom, and it should be very easy to defeat. You should know about its mechanics, and it shouldn't be any hard. And we reach 12-3. Spoilers, this chamber sucks ass. The first half contains the oh-so-beloved Icewind Suit Coppelia version, and I've told you so many times how much this version of the boss sucks. There's no way to counter it except with the shitty Pneumosia mechanic, Coppelia constantly doing attacks and blowing you away from her, and Coppelia's moving around non-stop attacking. Fuck this boss, it sucks, don't bring an Emo and Cryo because they have high resistances to them, and the Shielder is a big recommendation, but they can easily break a Zhongli shield because of how many attacks they fucking do and how much damage these deal. Fuck this boss, it can die in hell. And the second half doesn't necessarily make things a lot better. It contains the small mecha local legend in Fontaine that is almost exactly similar to the gravity manipulation boss, the what is it called, experimental field generator, I think it's called. They made a local legend, if you've not found it, where it's basically that boss. But this one starts with a hefty Geo Shield and it has only 2 attacks. The big shockwave and then the ring attack. There's like small ring AoEs around the area, around the arena, and then after a while, like some rocks spawn from them, and that's the attack. The Geo Shield is your big problem, and there are tips here to take it down. One, and the easiest, is Geo characters. Geo counters Geo shields, that's pretty easy. There's Chiori and it on the banner, so they had to put something here that would make them sell. Also, the CEO of GEO can eat up this thing's shield very quickly using his hold skill as it absorbs Geo energy. The second one is Claymores, as their blunt attacks can cause significant damage to the shield, but they are usually, slow characters, so bringing Geo is recommended. But if you have somebody even like a Diluc that can do a lot of blunt attacks pretty quickly in a good succession is pretty nice to break the shield, alongside anything else that you might bring that to break the shield. The third and last way is mostly sword characters spamming plunge attacks. This boss lowers gravity, making everybody able to plunge attack, but the fastest way that I found is using a sword character, as their plunge attacks usually come out faster than other characters. Bows cannot damage the shield, as their plunge attacks are not considered blunt attacks. Same with Catalyst characters, their plunge attacks are not blunt attacks. And then you're left with Claymores, which should do pretty well, again, as said with the second tip, right? Their normal attacks are blunt and that works, and then their plunge attacks can work, but again, they can be pretty slow. And the thing with pole arms is that usually their animation, until their animation where they need to like be straight down to do the plunge attack, until that happens, it's just a little bit slower than sword characters. With sword characters, the trick is to plunge and then do a normal attack, as its animation cancels the plunge, allowing you to jump again really quickly. The main problem with this is timing it with the shockwave attack. Most likely the boss will start doing the shockwave attack, and you need to be careful not to do a plunge attack and land straight with your face onto the shockwave. And yeah, that's the main tip. Get a sword character. I found Bennett to be really good. I think his plunge attacks are, and his first normal attack hit is pretty quick. Just plunge attack hit, plunge attack hit, plunge attack hit, and then do this again and again and again and again. After that, you break the shield. You still need to be careful of the shockwaves mostly, but it should also be smooth sailing after that. The shield does come back, and it does so pretty quickly, so you might need to adjust some teams or rotations to not end up with all your buffs active, but then you switch to your main DPS, and the shield just comes back right as you're about to do that. So be careful with rotations, right? Just try to time it. Usually the timing is after it goes through a cycle of the shockwave and the ring attacks, then the shield should appear. Right, that's usually the timing, so you can, again, find your timing like that. But yeah, these are the big 3 ways to get rid of this guy. Geo is the easiest. Ito is amazing, of course, because he's Geo plus Claymore, so that's that. Zhongli with lots of Geo structures also can work, because microwaving this thing with the resonance pools can also work, right? But Zhongli himself, just making one pillar with the hold skill, absorbing the Geo energy is super quick. Again, they just need to sell it to ensure, you know that. Claymores can be really good because their blunt attacks are really good. Plunging with them is really good, but they're just a little bit slow, so it depends on the team. And the third one is a sword character spamming plunge attacks with an attack in between in order to animation cancel and be quick. That's that. Again, the shockwaves can deal a lot of damage. Be careful of that, but this boss is fine. You can and should have fun with plunge attacks since the boss allows you to, but they might not be the optimal thing. I tried Dragon Strike Diluc, that was fun. I tried Huta with plunge attacks, like weaving a plunge attack after doing a charge attack, which is the same thing that I did when the field generator boss, goddammit this name, came out. You can have some fun with plunge attacks since you don't need Cloud Retainer or anybody else to do them. But again, they might not be the optimal thing. Like, you can plunge attack with Ito, but doing charge attacks is much faster, right? And that's floor 12. The first 2 chambers aren't that tough, even if they look like that at first glance. The Fatui Imperatives are okay, so are the Shadowy Husks. They might be annoying at first, but after you learn a thing or two about how the floor is structured and how you should move with your rotations, everything should be fine. And the bosses on the second halves are pretty easy, and only 12-3 is very annoying. The Icewind Suit sucks ass, and the Local Legend can be pretty annoying to go against if you don't know how to counter it, and that's why I gave you those tips in this review. I know, it's a half guide, half review, but I like doing it this way. So that's the 4.5 Abyss. Overall, it's fine. There's some easy chambers, and then there's some chambers that you might need to pay some attention to and learn them a bit right before you are fully able to clear them, perhaps. Like the first time I went to 12-2 because of the really weird spawning, right? Specters in front of you, Whopper Flowers behind you, and then the opposite side of the arena is the Shadowy Husks. I'm pretty sure I did do a restart because you just don't know about it. And the same can be said about the Local Legend. I saw it on the menu. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Because the fucking idiots don't name this Local Legend Mecha something, right? They just put a name in there, and I'm like, is that just a bunch of the small enemy because they don't look any different in the icon? Remember when the Fatui Operative Local Legends appeared first, I think on 11.3? They were just called Fatui Operatives, not with any names or whatever. So yeah, this is pretty annoying. So yeah, I don't blame you if you restart once or twice, or if you brought a team on the second half, and then you see you need Geo or stuff, and then you're like, oh, fuck me, right? I don't blame you, because they suck at showing you what enemy is in there. So yeah, only 12-3 is very annoying. Again, some chambers need a bit of being careful, but everything else should be pretty easy. Thank you for watching. This was a fine Abyss. Now with Harlequin on the horizon, I don't know what they're gonna bring. I'm actually surprised that they didn't bring the new boss yet. The boss that is in Shenyu Vale for Cloud Retainer hasn't appeared both in 4.4 and 4.5. So that's pretty interesting. Maybe they'll bring it in 4.6, but it's again pretty interesting that it hasn't appeared yet in the Abyss. Usually it should have. Maybe they just want to put so many local legends. I don't know. Have you seen the new boss coming up in the new area? Oh boy, it's way worse than this field generator, I think. Anyway, thank you for watching. Like the video if you liked it. Sub to the channel to help it out. Follow me on Twitch for streams. And hope to see you in another video. The main event is over, right? The main event is all out. But it's not enough to do a video on it. So we're gonna wait for some minor events to appear. And hopefully my PC doesn't die in the process. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in another video. Bye-bye.